There is a moment in every life where time begins to speak louder than words. It doesn't shout, but it whispers. Through sore joints, weakened steps, and the quiet shrinking of muscle that once moved mountains in our youth. You do not need to see it in the mirror to know it is happening. The body sends signals. The strength you once depended on, the vitality you once carried with ease, now require effort. This is not failure. It is the law of nature. But within nature, there is another law. What declines with time can be sustained through wisdom. The true battle of aging is not fought in the gyms or hospitals. It is fought in daily choices, in what you do with your body when no one is watching. And one of the most overlooked moments of this battle is the moment before sleep. Every day ends the same way, with nightfall and silence. But in that silence, your body begins its most important work, healing. And like a warrior returning from battle, your body needs nourishment, the right kind, at the right time. If you go to sleep hungry for the nutrients your muscles crave, you wake up weaker than before. Not dramatically, not instantly, but slowly, subtly, you begin to disappear. It's not the number on your age that determines your strength. It is the number of wise decisions you make each day. And among these decisions, what you feed your body before bed can decide whether you rise stronger or weaker the next morning. Aging is not a punishment. It is an invitation. An invitation to master your body, to master your mind, and to rise with more awareness than ever before. This mastery begins not with massive change, but with a simple ritual. Tonight you choose. Will you give your body what it needs to rebuild? Or will you let it dissolve silently into weakness? What you eat before bed can either be your silent enemy or your secret weapon. You must understand this. You are not too old to grow strong again. You are not too late to reverse the tide. You are not powerless unless you believe you are. When the world quiets down and you are alone with yourself, ask one question: what can I give my body tonight so that it will serve me better tomorrow? And now, let us walk the path of understanding what this one thing is. This single, natural, powerful food that can become your nightly ritual, a shield against decay and a key to your strength. After the age of 60, the body begins to undergo a quiet transformation. This transformation is not marked by sudden pain or dramatic shifts, but rather a slow, steady unraveling of strength that once seemed permanent. Muscle wasting or sarcopenia becomes a silent enemy that creeps in gradually. One day you notice it's harder to carry groceries. Another day, you feel winded climbing a short flight of stairs. Soon, standing up from a chair requires more effort than before. Most dismiss it as just getting older. But that acceptance becomes the biggest trap. Because while aging is inevitable, decline is not. Muscles are not simply about strength or appearance. They are the foundation of your balance, your stability, your ability to walk, lift, and move freely through the world. When muscle mass begins to fade, everything else follows. Your posture changes. Your metabolism slows. Your bones become more vulnerable to injury. Your energy diminishes. Even your mind suffers as studies continue to reveal a deep connection between physical strength and mental sharpness. What's most dangerous is how quietly all of this unfolds. You don't hear the muscles weakening. You don't feel them leaving. It's not until a fall, a fracture, or a chronic fatigue diagnosis that many people begin to realize how far their body has declined. This silent weakening is not just a physical issue. It is a mental and spiritual challenge. Because the moment you begin to believe that losing strength is a normal part of life is the moment you begin to surrender. And surrendering in this context is not noble. It's costly. The truth is, the body continues to respond to care, discipline, and effort even in the later decades of life. Muscles do not check your birth certificate before they grow. What they respond to is movement, nutrition, rest, and purpose. Modern life has made it easier to stay still. More entertainment, less walking. More comfort, less challenge. But the human body was never designed for stillness. It was meant to move, to lift, to carry, to bend. Muscles are not ornamental. They are essential. And if you are not actively doing something to preserve and rebuild them after 60, then they are being lost. Every week, every month, every year. The process is quiet, but its results are devastating. There is a time of day when the body becomes still, when the world quiets down, and the mind slowly lets go. This time is sleep. An essential rhythm of life. A sanctuary where the body does not just rest, but repairs, rebuilds, and restores. Yet within this sacred process lies a forgotten healing during sleep is not automatic. It is earned. It requires preparation. And most importantly, it demands fuel. What you eat before bed is not just about avoiding hunger. It can determine whether your muscles rebuild or continue to waste away. This is the hidden power of nighttime nutrition, a forgotten warrior in the fight against aging and decline. During sleep, the body enters a highly active state of regeneration. Hormones are released, tissues are mended, and the muscular system begins its work of repair. Every step you took, every lift, every movement, even your posture, puts wear and tear on the muscles. Sleep is the only time your body has the stillness and the signal to begin the process of recovery. But here is where most people miss the mark. The body cannot rebuild something from nothing. If you enter sleep on an empty stomach, without the proper nutrients, especially protein and amino acids, your body is forced to work with insufficient resources. Instead of building, it begins to break down. Instead of growing stronger, it continues to shrink. This is not about eating heavy or indulging in late-night cravings. This is about understanding what the body needs during the hours when it is doing its deepest work. A small portion of slow-digesting protein, such as Greek yogurt, a few almonds, a boiled egg, or a warm glass of milk, can make a profound difference. These foods provide your muscles with a steady stream of amino acids throughout the night, giving your body the tools it needs to repair what the day has strained. Neglecting nighttime nutrition is like sending a soldier into battle without armor. Your body is already engaged in a fight against time, gravity, and degeneration. Denying it the fuel to fight back is an act of unawareness, not of age. And the results show up in subtle but undeniable ways: slower recovery, weaker strength, interrupted sleep, and eventually a reduced ability to move freely and independently. The body is wise, but it needs support. And the time just before sleep is one of the most powerful windows to offer it. You have fasted throughout the night. Your body will soon spend hours in rebuilding mode. One simple decision: to eat something nourishing, something light but rich in purpose, can change how your body feels, not just tomorrow morning, but for the years ahead. The body is constantly in a state of renewal. Cells are replaced, tissues repaired, and muscles rebuilt, especially during the hours when we are asleep. But this powerful cycle of repair does not begin automatically with sleep alone. It needs to be supported. And one of the most effective ways to do so is through the strategic use of natural proteins before bed. These proteins serve as building blocks, supplying the amino acids the body needs to carry out its nighttime work. Without them, the body struggles. With them, it thrives. Natural proteins are a gift of the earth, not created in laboratories or wrapped in shiny packages. They come in the form of eggs, cottage cheese, nuts, seeds, Greek yogurt, and even legumes. These foods are rich in essential amino acids, particularly leucine, which plays a crucial role in muscle protein synthesis. When consumed in moderate amounts before sleep, these natural proteins provide a slow and steady release of nutrients, giving your muscles exactly what they need to repair and regenerate through the night. What makes natural proteins especially powerful for bedtime is their digestion profile. Unlike sugary or heavily processed foods that spike blood sugar and crash soon after, natural proteins are absorbed more gradually. This slow absorption means that your body remains nourished through all stages of sleep, especially deep sleep, when the majority of muscle healing takes place. During this phase, growth hormone is released, and if the body is supported with protein, it uses that hormone to build, strengthen, and preserve lean muscle mass. People often underestimate the importance of this simple act. They assume that strength is built in the gym or on long walks, but forget that the true construction of muscle occurs when the body is still, when you're asleep. And during that stillness, food becomes your ally or obstacle. Without protein, the body is forced to draw from its own resources. It may break down existing muscle to fuel its functions, which accelerates weakness, fatigue, and the cycle of decline. But with the right protein, even in small amounts, the body shifts into a state of growth and protection. This is especially important after the age of 60, when the body naturally begins to lose muscle faster, if not maintained. Resistance training and movement help, but recovery is just as vital. And that recovery depends heavily on what you feed your body, particularly before bed. Making this a habit does not require a dramatic lifestyle change. A few slices of cheese, a spoon of almond butter, a boiled egg, or a small bowl of lentils can be enough. It's about consistency, not quantity. Each night you nourish your body with natural protein, you are casting a vote for strength. You are sending a message to your muscles. I still value you. I still need you. I will still take care of you. The words of the prophet Ezekiel pierce through time with a terrifying clarity. I will put hooks in your jaws and bring you out, says the Lord to Gog. It is not a military strategy that drives the nations. It is not merely hatred or greed or geopolitics. It is the invisible hand of the Almighty guiding them, drawing them, pulling them into a confrontation they do not understand. They believe it is their own power that drives them forward, their own ambition that leads them toward Israel. But they are being led by a force far greater than their own. The hand of God Himself. Like a beast lured into a trap by the scent of prey, these nations march forward with confidence, unaware that every step has already been ordered. God is not surprised by their movements. He is orchestrating them. The hook in the jaw is not coercion. It is divine sovereignty. It is God drawing them into the valley of decision, a confrontation not just with Israel, but with the Holy One of Israel. Why would God do this? Why would He lead the nations into battle only to destroy them? The answer lies in His purpose. I will sanctify my great name, He says. This is not just about Israel's survival. It is about God's glory being revealed to all the nations. For too long, The world has profaned his name. For too long, the nations have mocked and denied him. This battle will serve as a reckoning, a global demonstration that the God of the Bible is not a myth, not a memory, but the living God who acts in history. They come with arrogance. They come thinking to take plunder, to seize land, to crush a people they despise. But they will be crushed instead. The moment their boots touch the mountains of Israel, the trap will spring. Earthquakes will split the ground. Confusion will strike their ranks. Fire will fall from the heavens. And the world will watch as armies are wiped out. Not by Israel's might, but by the power of God. This divine setup is not new. Throughout history, God has drawn the proud into battle only to humble them. Pharaoh pursued Israel into the sea, only to drown in judgment. Sennacherib mocked the God of Jerusalem, only to see his army destroyed by the angel of the Lord. Now, in the last days, God will once again set the trap, not for punishment alone, but for revelation. The hook is already in place. The alliances are forming. The hatred is intensifying. The armies are preparing. But behind it all is the sovereign plan of God. He will bring them forth so that he may be known among the nations, so that every eye may see, every heart may tremble, and every mouth may declare that he alone is God. This is the mystery of the hook in the jaw. Judgment, yes, but also mercy, a final confrontation, a final revelation, a final chance to see the glory of the Lord. The final conflict that Ezekiel speaks of is not ultimately about land politics or military might. It is about something far greater, far deeper. It is about the name of God. I will make my holy name known in the midst of my people Israel. I will not let them profane my holy name anymore. Then the nations shall know that I am the Lord, declares the Sovereign One. This is the true heart of the matter. The coming war, the gathering of nations, the fire and the shaking. It all leads to one divine goal, that the name of the Lord would be hallowed among the nations. In a world where God's name has been mocked, ignored, and twisted, he is preparing to act in such a way that no one will be able to deny who he is. For centuries, the name of God has been relegated to myth, superstition, or private religion. Kings have tried to erase it. Nations have tried to silence it. Philosophers have tried to explain it away. Even his own people at times have forgotten it. But the day is coming when his name will be made holy again. Not just in word, but in visible, undeniable power. This is not about God defending his ego. It is about the world seeing the truth. It is about a divine correction to the deception that has darkened the earth. When the nations rise against Israel, they believe they are waging a political war. But they are stepping into a holy theater, one where God will reveal himself, not just as the defender of Israel, but as the God of all the earth. He will make his name known in the fire, in the judgment, in the deliverance, in the shaking of nations. The glory will not be hidden in a temple or a cloud. It will come upon the nations like lightning flashing from the east to the west. God will not whisper, he will roar, and the earth will respond. His name will be set apart, lifted up, magnified. Not because man decided to honor him, but because he will act in such a way that man will have no choice but to acknowledge him. The final war will be more than a clash of armies. It will be a confrontation between the arrogance of man and the holiness of God. And God will have the last word. His justice will be seen. His power will be known. His mercy will be remembered. And the remnant from every nation will fall to their knees. Not in terror alone, but in awe. The hallowing of his name will mark the turning point of the age. It will shatter deception, break pride, and usher in the time when every knee will bow and every tongue confess. This is the end for which all prophecy moves. The unveiling of God's glory and the sanctifying of his name among all flesh. The world will not just hear of him, they will see him, and the name that was once trampled will be exalted forever. The prophecy of Ezekiel does not end in smoke and ashes. It leads to something far greater. It begins with war, with chaos, with the gathering of nations and the trembling of the earth. But it does not conclude there. The end is not destruction for the sake of destruction. It is divine preparation. A divine fire will fall, but it will not only consume, it will refine. The shaking will not only judge, it will awaken. And from the storm will come glory, and from the glory the return of the King. God never judges without purpose. When he moves in power, it is not merely to punish the wicked. It is to awaken the sleeping. The fire that will fall upon Gog and his armies is not random. It is prophetic. It is fire that breaks the pride of nations, that shakes the foundations of a world built on rebellion. But for the people of God, for the remnant, that same fire becomes the fire of revival. It strips away compromise. It burns off apathy. It ignites the lamps of those who have trimmed their wicks and watched through the night. The aftermath of the war will be unlike anything the world has seen. Ezekiel tells us that the people of Israel will spend months burying the dead. Weapons will be gathered and burned for years. The land will bear the scars of divine intervention. But amid the ashes will come something unexpected. A spiritual awakening. The eyes of Israel will be opened. The veil will begin to lift. The question that has echoed for generations, who is the Messiah, will begin to find its answer. The name of the Lord, once whispered or profaned, will be lifted up. The God of Abraham will not only be known among his people, but among the nations. A revival will begin, not just in Israel, but throughout the earth. What began as a confrontation of nations will turn into a revelation of God. And as his glory is revealed, the hearts of many will be turned. The dry bones will live not only in flesh, but in spirit. The breath, the ruach, will come. All of it leads to the return. Not a symbolic return, not an idea, but the literal return of the King. The Messiah will not stay hidden. The heavens will break open. The Mount of Olives will split. And the one whose feet last stood there will return in power and glory. Every eye will see him. Those who pierced him will mourn. And those who have waited, who have longed, who have prepared through the fire will rejoice. This is the pattern of prophesying war, fire awakening, glory and return. We are not called to fear the fire, but to be purified by it. We are not called to dread the shaking, but to be awakened through it. Because the fire is coming, the glory is coming, and the King is coming. Let the bride prepare. Let the lamps be filled. For the hour is late. And the prophecy of Ezekiel is not far from fulfillment. We have walked through the scrolls of Ezekiel. We have stood in the valley of dry bones. We have watched as the bones came together, as flesh returned, as the nation of Israel rose from the dust of history. We have followed the unfolding prophecy. From resurrection to war, from judgment to glory. We have seen the formation of alliances once written in ancient names, now reborn in modern headlines. We have beheld the rise of Gog and Magog, the drawing in of nations, the hook in the jaw that leads them unknowingly into the hands of the Almighty. And we have seen that what lies ahead is not simply a conflict of borders. but the stage set for the revealing of God's glory to all the earth. The war prophecy is not just about territory. It is about truth. It is about God sanctifying His great name, revealing His power, His justice, and His sovereignty. He is not a passive observer. He is the orchestrator. Every movement of the nations, every alliance, every rising hostility is part of a divine pattern. And though men believe they are in control, they are but instruments in the hand of the Lord, fulfilling what was written long before they ever rose to power. This is not a moment to be lulled by comfort or distracted by noise. This is a moment to awaken. The same breath that entered the dry bones will soon blow again. Not only to restore a people, but to ignite a fire in the remnant, the faithful, the watchful. The supernatural war will not be won by weapons forged by men, but by the outstretched arm of the living God. Fire will fall, the heavens will shake, the earth will tremble, and all flesh will know that He alone is the Lord. But judgment is never the end of the story. It is the beginning of something greater. After the fire comes the glory. After the shaking comes the revealing. The land that trembled will become the place where glory rests. The people who once wandered will become the carriers of awakening, and the name that was once hidden will be exalted across the nations. This is the call for this hour. Not fear, but readiness. Not despair, but expectation. The return of the King is drawing near. Every event, every alignment, every shaking is declaring the nearness of His coming. The signs are not merely signs of chaos. They are signs of convergence, signs of preparation, signs of the soon arrival of the King of glory. So let the church awaken. Let the remnant arise. Let every lamp be trimmed and burning. For the fire is coming. The glory is approaching. And the heavens are preparing to open. The Ezekiel prophecy is no longer distant. It is before us. And to those who watch and wait, to those who have ears to hear, this is the hour to be ready. For the next great event is not just coming, it is at the door.